Well, this time every week we talk golf, PGA Tour, obviously, with the Action Network's Jason Sobel. I'm Adam Kaufman. This is a little bit different, though, Jason, because the PGA Tour is taking a week off because, well, the Tokyo Olympics. So many of the world's top golfers headed to Tokyo and looking to bring home the gold. We'll get to the specifics and odds, courtesy of the DK Sportsbook, but just how exciting a time is this for you?
Yeah, I like it. I'm still not totally sold, Adam. Don't tell the folks at the PGA Tour and the U.S. Golf Federation that have worked so hard behind the scenes to get golf back into the Olympics the second time now. Of course, they played 5 years ago in 2016. But I don't necessarily love the format of it. I'd love some kind of team component. I'd love some sort of mixed component with the men and women playing together. I'd also think that maybe a match play component of it would be pretty good too. But it's 72 holes of individual stroke play. We get the men this week, the women next week. Look, I like it. I'll be into it. We're going to watch it. Some of the world's best players are completely invested, completely engaged, and they will be into this. If they are into it, then we should be into it as well.
But will you alter your sleep schedule for it? That's really the question here.
That's usually only a major championship. Do I alter the sleep schedule? I like my sleep, but yeah, I will probably stay up on the weekend. How's that? Maybe not the first couple of rounds, but for the weekend here on the East Coast, I will get up in the middle of the night and watch this.
No, that sounds great to me, and we can edit it in such a way that it makes it sound like you're saying, yes, I will not sleep at all. I will be watching all the golf. The world's number one, Jon Rahm, of course, unfortunately had to withdraw due to a positive COVID test. DraftKings own Bryson DeChambeau, same story. So we won't have all the top golfers in the world there, but taking a look at the DK Sportsbook odds, the top four right now in terms of the odds, Colin Morikawa at plus 650. You have Xander Schauffele, of course, plus 800. Victor Hovland, Justin Thomas, they both sit currently at plus 1,100. Can you see any of these four that I mentioned coming home with the gold?
Right. You're asking me if I can see any of the favorites winning the gold medal this week. Yes, Adam, I can. In fact, one of them...
Call me crazy.
Yes, it's hard not to like any of those guys. One of them I like a little bit more than the other three, but you always ask me at the end of the segment who my favorite is to win this week. So I'm going to let the people wait just another minute or two before I give my fair.
All right, yeah, we don't want to totally knock things off their axis here with regard to the segment. As mentioned, Bryson DeChambeau unable to be there. He's a guy who's been playing a lot of golf lately. Patrick Reed, same story. In fact, talking about Reed, from the Open in England, 3M in Minnesota, you keep looking. Now on to the Olympics, Tokyo. Reed's odds sitting at plus 1,600 going into the tournament here. Any concern over the hectic schedule when it comes to actually betting on him to win?
Yeah, there's probably a little concern over this hectic schedule. He just played the final round in Minnesota, as you mentioned, on Sunday afternoon, then had to jet over to Tokyo. There's concern about his usual caddy, Kessler Corain, his brother-in-law, will not be on the bag. In fact, he'll have his coach, Kevin Kirk, on the bag instead. And he probably won't see this golf course maybe get in one round of practice, depends on what the travel schedule is like and, when he gets his final testing and all that kind of stuff. But so yeah, it's a little hectic for Patrick Reed. That said, as we know about Patrick Reed over the years, as soon as he puts on the red, white, and blue, he tends to turn into a different player. And so I would not sell him short this week whatsoever. I think that Patrick Reed still going over there with a different caddy on a weird sleep schedule and with not much practice and look at the golf course. I still think he can go out there and play some really good golf.
A trio of players or golfers all sit at plus 1,200. There's Paul Casey, there's Rory McIlroy, and of course, the star of the show, Japan's own Hideki Matsuyama. Now, there won't be fans, so that element of pressure is a non-factor, but still, your home country for Matsuyama here. Is there extra pressure for you? For him, but for you, do you just look at it as... Yeah, no pressure on you other than to get this answer right, obviously. Is he the guy that you look at as the favorite of the group?
Yeah, I feel a lot of pressure, and I think Hideki probably, even without fans, feels some pressure this week. Has not played great since winning at Augusta National. I do think host golf course Kasuma Gaseki Golf Club, it's about an hour outside of Tokyo. I do think there are some Augusta National familiarities that the players are going to see. I think it's going to look like a second shot golf course. It's going to be soft. It's rained out a lot. Think about the Masters in November last year. I think that's going to be a good course comparison going into this one. So I'm looking at the leaderboard from that one, and actually a lot of the players that I like are going to be up there. But the fact that Hideki at least won at Augusta National earlier this year, I think that helps a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure. In fact, out of that group, Paul Casey's probably the guy that I like the best. He's been playing really well this year, striking his irons really well, so I can see him having a nice week.
Like you said, sometimes around here we get a little formulaic. So this is the point in time when I ask you about long shots. Who are guys with big numbers next to their names that you like?
I'm not going too deep this week. I think that you can look at this field and say, okay, well, it's just not going to be a Hurley Long. It's not going to be a Yeshun Yuan, who's guys that you don't see on a week-to-week basis playing PGA Tour events and WGCs and major championships. So I'm not going too far deep. I wouldn't qualify these guys as long shots, but right around 28-1, Sungjae Im, who of course has the world on his shoulders this week. He's trying to avoid 2 years of South Korean military duty. If he does indeed medal this week, has to finish in the top 3 and win a medal in order to remain on the PGA Tour for the next 2 years. And then Cameron Smith, who's rocking the greatest mullet short of Mario Lemieux in his prime, and Corey Connors, who's a great ball striker from Canada. Those guys are all, look, not even close to being long shots, what we normally consider long shots, but I'm just not going too deep in this field. So at 28-1, if you like those guys for top 5s this week, or maybe even an outright on one of them, I don't mind that.
Who are you looking to fade here?
It's sort of the same answer where it's a 60-player field. Half of these guys probably don't have a great chance of winning this golf tournament. And so I don't know that there's one guy I look at, Adam, and I say, you've got to fade this guy. He's not going to play well this week. I think it's one where you pick your horses and you ride them throughout the week, and I think you've got a decent chance. I mean, you're basically, with the process of elimination, narrowing down the field. So you can say whether you really like Rory or you really like Colin Morikawa or whoever it might be at the top, pick your guy and kind of ride him this week, and he's got, I would say, at least a 1 in 30, 1 in 25 chance of winning this thing.
When it comes to Narrative Street, normally I was going to sit here and say, well, of course, you root for Hideki Matsuyama. Of course, then you outline the Sungjae Im story, and now I feel kind of compelled to root his way. But who is your favorite to win this thing?
Yeah, Siwoo Kim in the same boat as Sungjae Im this week as well, trying to avoid that military duty in South Korea. We mentioned right off the top that of the favorites, there was one guy that I liked a little bit more than the others. Justin Thomas has had a frustrating campaign this year. He won the Players' Championship, of course, but hasn't really contended anywhere else, hasn't played his best golf. I really think, and I always warn, look, if you're going to bet on players based on what they say on their social media accounts, you're going to wind up betting everybody, because nobody goes on Twitter, nobody goes on Instagram and says, not really feeling it this week, but, maybe I'll find my swing in a couple of months. Everyone says, man, fired up for this week. I'm playing well. I can't wait to get out there. This is going to be a great week. So, you've got to play it with a little caution. That said, I read JT's media post this week. Justin Thomas sounds like he's very, very motivated for this one. I know that he's been frustrated about his play as of late. A second shot golf course should suit him really well. I like his number this week. I think there's some value, and he is indeed my favorite play at this one.